Hey, Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, aka Man of the People. You now have a friend in the media, which is myself, here to answer any Carolina Panthers questions that you have. If I don't have the immediate answer, I always say, hey, stay tuned. I always do my homework, come back, and I make sure that I answer any of those questions. So today's broadcast, a little later than usual. Why? Because there was so much information from that joint practice today. And quite honestly, we may end up having to do another video tomorrow to talk a little bit more about something, because I was trying to get some information grouped in a certain kind of way to present it, and I didn't have a chance to do all that. But nevertheless, we're going to get through it all and just ask for those who enjoy the content, hit the like button, helps other Panther fans find out about us. But you can also consider subscribing, help us reach 15,000, help us grow, or even better, become a member to help financially support this channel with doing the things that we do and bringing this Carolina Panthers coverage. So with that being said, we got some members that have already joined us. So I want to give some shout outs to Knucklehead K. Let's see if we can get a little sound effect going for Knucklehead K. There we go, there we go, there we go. And then we also have Donald I'll go to say that name wrong every time. He's going to kill me. Donald Byers. There we go. And we got Nicole also signing on. So what's up, Nicole? So I know some of those members have some questions. I'll come back to those questions in just a second. Let me know how well you guys can hear me. I think that I'm going to switch microphones from the one that you hear now. So tell me, does this microphone sound good, or would you prefer this microphone? I know I've never done this before, but I like the sound to be good. So microphone B, this is microphone B. This is microphone A. Microphone A. Which one do you like? Let me know. We got a lot to go over. Overall, I'm just going to give you the spoiler alert. It was a really good practice by the Carolina Panthers. It was something that I have been talking about and being critical of the team. Said, hey, I haven't seen a practice where I feel like the offense did well, even to the point where I say 50-50, or if they may have won. And today, I had a clear choice. All right, you guys have given me feedback saying the first one, which would be this microphone. All right, so I don't know what this microphone sounds like, so therefore I wanted to ask you all opinions. So thank you for tuning in. This practice today, most of all, defense has been looking solid. Defense has been looking solid, been looking reputable, if that's a good word. No problems there. It's been the offense where the question marks for me have come, and today I got a lot of answers. Bryce Young, that guy looked good. He looked really good. Terrace Marshall, he looked good. On and on I can go, but let me also, I forgot to play a clip for you guys. Here's a little clip from practice today. Yep. So I didn't get much video today, but here you see, it seems like the whole, that looked like most of the secondary over there going to say what's up to Aaron Rodgers, right? I don't see any vets in there, but maybe just a show the respects kind of thing. Good practice today. Good practice today. And what about the crowd? Let's see if I got the crowd shot. Yeah. Here is a look of the crowd. This is the VIP section. It's full. Kind of look like standing room only. The same thing was the case on the other side. Very full. Now, I will say this though. It's still, in terms of like a big practice with a lot of fans coming out, you're not going to get that here in Charlotte because they don't have the same capacity that they had in Spartanburg with the Hill. Definitely was still different from that atmosphere last year down in Spartanburg, where, you know, the Hill was just packed. I mean, thousands and thousands of people, but it was definitely a pretty good vibe like that here in Charlotte today. And there were some Jet fans, because pretty much anytime something major happened, whether it was the Carolina Panthers or whether it was the New York Jets, you heard commotion from the crowd. which is normal, right? Training camp is a good time for fans of both sides to get to a practice and cheer on their team. So let's go ahead and dive into some of my observations from today. So one of the things I've been talking about were being able to evaluate the running backs, being difficult to do. And it's still a little bit difficult because they weren't taking people down to the ground today. It was still just wrap up, kind of what they call thug, nice contact, even though, of course, you're going to get some people that kind of deviate from there. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that in a second here. But I did see some holes being opened up for both Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders. So can't swear by, oh yes, this is great, but it was definitely a step forward that I have not seen prior to today. But they did look solid. I'm going to talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty sharp today, you know. So here's overall what I'm going to say about the practice. It was some periods won by the Jets. It was some periods won by the Panthers. It was some periods by the offense of the Jets, and then it was some periods by the defense of the Panthers. Good periods by the offense of the Panthers, and good for the defense of the Jets. So it really, in my opinion, it was a pretty evenly matched practice with shining points on both. But my excitement from it is that our offense didn't have this, okay, just this one period, or maybe just this one series. Our offense was consistently doing things and doing different things that I have not been able to talk about from a point of highlighting because I haven't seen it. So let me back up. So Aaron Rodgers did pretty good throughout most of the day. He looked excellent. I mean, this guy is the 2-minute drill master, and he showed it today, just going down the field during the 2-minute period and really controlling everything, getting New York in position to score. Now, where did Aaron have some faults? Well, he had some faults when they were doing, I don't know what they called this period. It wasn't the 2-minute, but they got into the red zone, and yeah, they got some turnovers. There was a interception by Trevin Wallace. I forget who the other guy was. There was also a ball that was punched out and recovered by Trevin Wallace. So Trevin Wallace, if you have not seen the video, please go back and look at my one-on-one video with Trevin Wallace. You can just click on the logo on the YouTube channel, and you'll see the playlist with all the one-on-one interviews that I do. But in that interview with Trevin, we talked about, hey, coach has mentioned that he wants to see you play quicker. And he was like honest and said, yeah, I could play quicker. He said, right now, I'm going side to side, making sure that I what I'm reading is what's going to happen before I then attack. And he said, it's just me not wanting to mess up, not wanting to have the vets get on me. And it seems like he's dealing with that and improving, and he's moving quicker, and he's having better reaction points, trusting his instincts, and playing some really, really good ball Trevin Wallace did today. Bryce Young, I heard, and I've shared it with you guys, hey, his players talk highly of him. They talk about this aspect. They talk about that aspect. And I do want to be clear that I don't always have the best viewpoint to see a lot of things. We're on the field level, and being field level doing training camp is not that great because there's so many people standing in your way. So if you've been a person that's been able to make it to training camp and you've been in the stands that's elevated, you do have a better vantage point than I do. But I got a chance to see Bryce Young today have great anticipation on his throws, making those throws well before the wide receiver has turned around to look for it. You can see Bryce getting in position. I saw a lot of times today where Bryce did a good job of moving around within the pocket, whether that's sidestepping, going back, going forward. That was pretty good. I also saw the line doing a good job of picking up bodies that were coming back there to get Bryce. And that was great. So a lot of good stuff in different areas from the offense that I saw today. Several fights. To my calculation, there were 3 fights, scuffles, whatever you want to call them. I don't think anybody's going to get too wrapped up about, oh man, there was a fight. You know, you get it. It happens. It's a physical sport. It's a lot of testosterone out there. And of course, if you step over the boundaries, guys may want to say, hey, look, that ain't going to happen today. So, nevertheless, just getting that little disclaimer on my thoughts of the fighting out the way. And I'm going to have more videos about this, but Terrace Marshall, he was on the first one. And also, let me say this, to give some context to the scuffles that were taking place today. It was 100%, all the scuffles were on our starting offensive side and their starting defense. Other side of the field where we had our starting defense and their starting offense, there wasn't any scuffling. Now, there was one play that I saw Trevin Wallace did good, and some guy for the Jets just literally, it's like on the back of his neck, just like yapping at him, like for 5 yards, like following Trevin down the field. And finally, Trevin turns around, and by that time, some people came and broke him up. I think he got a shove in there, something like that. But other than that, all the true scuffles, they were on the other side of the field, our starting offense, their starting defense. The first one coming by, been instigated by Terrace Marshall Jr. He made a great catch. It was also a great pass. And I don't know if it's just my field level view this year, because though we were field level last year, we were still further away from the action than we are here in Charlotte. Terrace Marshall looks like a nice size guy. You know what, I should have looked this up before I got on here, but let's talk about how big Terrace Marshall is. Let me bring it up real quick. You guys are probably already telling me in the comments. Oh, he's just listed as 6'2", 200 pounds. But man, he's been seeming taller than 6'2", in my opinion. Maybe he's just really long. That'll help give him that extra height. I mean, he still is one of the taller receivers that we have. Michael Strawn been the biggest, but nevertheless, great pass, great catch. But after the reception, Terrace threw the ball down kind of close to the defender's face, and that set out the first fight. And you know, Terrace walked off pretty good. People were throwing balls at him, and I give him credit for the way that he walked off. He didn't continue to be a part of the melee or instigate anything. He was just walking, and even a player from the Jets came and threw a ball at his back, hit him in the back, and Terrace just kept on walking. Go ahead and talk about the other two scuffles. The other one was with Chuba Hubbard. He had a run play, had pretty much broken out and was kind of, was in the open. And to me, it wasn't a bad, oh man, I got hiccups on a live show. It wasn't like an egregious play, but he just, gave him a nice little flipper, so to say, and he got the best of Chuba, and Chuba fell down pretty hard from it. So, I mean, you can get mad at the Jet defender for hitting him, but he didn't go seeking him. He was kind of in his spot and just, hey, you're getting pretty close to me, here's the flipper. And that started a scuffle because Chuba was down for a moment. And we're going to talk about some injuries here in just a second. The third one, I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember the third one, but I know it was 3. Oh, I think I don't remember because I was still more on the other side of the field and I couldn't see how that started, et cetera, et cetera. Other feedback for you guys. Lots of penalties. There were lots of penalties today, and in training camp, I don't have the ability to know what the penalty was. I honestly kept looking at the refs, and I didn't see them signal what it was. They're not announcing it over any loudspeaker, so I don't have any guesses for what those penalties were, but I feel like there were a lot of penalties out there on the field today, and very heavily penalized on the kickoff. It was seemed like, I'm going to guess they kicked off 6 times, and I feel like I saw 4 penalties. Now, I didn't write it down, and that's not 100% absolute, but there were a lot of flags, and I really wish I knew what they were. Was it, there's rules about where the ball must land, when people can take off, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't feel like it was anything alignment related, because the flags were after the receiver caught the ball and started running. But yeah, lots of penalties on the kickoff today. Other notes that I have: Derek Brown, even though he didn't have a chance to dominate in practice today, he did good. There was a time Aaron Rodgers to show how great he is, where Derek Brown just busted right up the middle, and Aaron Rodgers just quick read, get the ball out. Derek Brown's coming up the middle. And maybe he's a great quarterback. He knows Derek Brown's right here. I'm probably gonna have to make sure I have my first read down and hot and ready to go, and he did. And also I saw Derek being double teamed a few times. So I want to report that on Derek Brown. Yeah, so that's my summary of the play-by-play from today. I've been asked about my standout guy from camp, and I really have not had much of an answer before now. I feel like I want to give it to Terrace Marshall Jr. Now, I will say on the defensive side, I feel like Trevor Wallace is doing pretty good, even though you might say he's a high draft pick. Well, he wasn't high, he wasn't first, second. But you can say, well, give me a guy that's maybe not been so talked about. And I don't have that guy yet. An undrafted guy perhaps that may be on the brink of cracking the roster, the practice squad. I don't have that for you. But it was a good practice. I would give, right now, I feel like I would give Terrace Marshall the nod over Mingo. Even though Mingo had I think it was the back together Saturday, he really shined well in front of a lot of people because we were at the stadium. And I feel like he had the craziest single game of practice, if you will. Mingo did, but I feel like today Terrace did. To me, he was Bryce's primary target today, and he was pulling in a lot of those balls, jump balls, fade routes, out routes, dig routes over the middle. Saw a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and, again, if you got some questions coming, please keep them coming. And I'm going to go over a few more things for you guys. Let me go over the transactions. We did have a transaction that took place today. Normally I have the screen graphic, but I didn't have time to get that screen graphic today. But the Carolina Panthers claimed guard Mason Brooks. Carolina Panthers claimed guard Mason Brooks. We waived injured guard Nash Jensen. Again, waived injured guard Nash Jensen. Also, injury updates is something that we don't get an official report during the preseason. So it's just journalists that try to keep together a pretty good list of ourselves, and then we try to ask the coach to give you the most updated list. So for that list, I currently have, again, we're talking about some injuries now that we're dealing with, and this is not completely thorough, but it's just the best list that I could get and want to share with y'all. Chandler Zavala got hurt today, hamstring. It is something that seems serious, and coach just said that it's something that they are concerned about. Kenny Dyson, he had a groin. Kenny Dyson had a groin, and that seems significant, something that the team is concerned about. Robert Hunt had something happen. He came off the field. They checked him out. Things looked good. He was cleared, and he actually came back to practice. Robert Hunt did. So Robert Hunt left practice, but he came back to practice today. Chuba Hubbard, big concerns initially, but the testing looks good from Chuba Hubbard. Again, he got hit pretty hard running out there in the open, single-man tackle. Coach Canales said it doesn't look like it was a dirty hit. He told us that it looked like his foot gave out on him as he was going to make a move and got hit pretty good, but he hadn't looked at the tape officially to know for sure what happened on that Chuba. So big concerns initially for Chuba Hubbard, but at this point, not as big. Testing looks good for Chuba. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver, didn't play today. He is still listed as day-to-day, which coach told us about. Xavier Legette, he was out there today running around. They're just continuing to ramp him up, monitoring how he's doing. Davian Clowney, same thing. Guy that he says, Dave Canales says, it's a guy that has a lot of training camp mileage, so they're not necessarily trying to rush him out there and continue to get him so many snaps. They're continuing to just kind of monitor him and ramp him up slowly. Xavier Woods, There is growing concern about Xavier Woods. His groin is more severe than initially thought, so he is going to be out a couple of weeks. Then got one more. Man, this is a lot. We got Dane Jackson, who is dealing with a hamstring injury, and that is looking significant as well. Dane Jackson, hamstring injury, and that's looking significant. All right. Appreciate it. I see some comments coming. My man Thomas Washington. I know Thomas, so I got to give him that extra enthusiasm, even though he's not a member. I've known Thomas for, 15 years, maybe even longer than that. Come on, Chris, keep it 100 with us. Do you see the Panthers winning more than 5 games? Thomas, I don't get into the predictions yet, but I don't feel like that's a stretch. That might be. I might take the over on that, Thomas. Do 4.5, because you say more than 5, so that means they got to win 6. Give me 4.5. That way, I'll say they win 5 or more. I'll take that. All right, so let's go ahead and got some videos that I want to share with you guys from practice today. The questions have been asked about our center, Austin Corbett, and the guys behind him, Cade Mays and others. And I say, hey, I'll ask the question, but I haven't seen it. Again, just want to go back to me saying earlier that I just don't have the best vantage point, and some things I'll just say I probably can't see as good as you guys can. Now today, ironically, I did see a bad snap to Bryce. It was pretty low. Bryce was able to pick it up and continue on with the play, pretty much uninterrupted, seemingly, right? But I guess others have seen it, and so quote was asked about Austin Corbett's play today.
I think he's within the realm of like reasonable for really any center, league wide. I've been with a bunch of different centers, and different blocks put a little bit more stress on shotgun snaps, pistol snaps, and things, and that's something that we continue to work through. And it has not been out of the ordinary for like what you would normally see at a center. So I'm really pleased with what Corbs has been doing.
All right, so I've been wondering, like, how will Dave Canales respond when things aren't so positive? Will it feel like it's just, come on, man, talk bad about a person, right? If they're doing bad. And so to me, that was him talking about bad about Corbett, saying, in my opinion, I've seen things. Yeah, there can be some improvements, but I feel like maybe as a coach, he's not wanting to be that critical yet of Austin. So he's saying it's nothing that he's seen that's, he seems on par. He seems on par for what's been going on. And I would say, judging by that, he's not concerned. They'll continue to work through it. I don't feel concerned about it. I know Corbett's talked about, he's played at this position before. He's very comfortable at this position. And it's still training camp. And I don't feel like we need to be thinking about somebody else in that position yet. But we'll just continue to monitor that. Now, we talked about Terrace Marshall. And I got a chance to ask Terrace a few questions myself. But I'm going to play this clip and Coach talking about Terrace Marshall. And I got comments, but I'll let you see it first.
It's dumb football. We can't have that. Guys fighting, guys getting into we want to celebrate with each other. We want to make big plays and give the opponent nothing. This is the exact type of stuff that I've been hitting them on, especially going into this practice. And guys, he got excited, and he made a great play on a really good player. Leave it at that. A great football play. How about we celebrate that? So he and I talked about it out there, and we put it behind us. But it's just, these are the moments. It's too hard. Football is too hard. The margins are so tight in this league. You can't afford to give the opponent anything. Not the ball. Not a penalty. Not anything. Not false starts and pre-snap things, aligning offsides. Those are all the things. They're marginally. They just add up and they flip the field, and it makes it even harder. So something we got to continue to work on getting away from.
Coach says, dumb football. Talked to Terrace Marshall right out there on the field to address it. And I'm just going to mention, because I know I've said it a lot, I like his coaching style. I appreciate his coaching style. I feel like it's something that could be sustained success in Carolina. No, that does not mean that I'm saying there's going to be 10 wins and there won't be some ugly bumps on the road. But I feel like he's a guy that can be at this position for some time, says the right things, does the right things, coaches about details, make sure he has good relationship with his players to get the most out of it. And there he was critical of Terrace, not saying it was bad. He said it was dumb, dumb plays. So one more bit that I want to play from Coach Canales, and that is about the defense. The defense did well today. Again, I know of several interceptions. There was a fumble, forced fumble in the red zone. And he talked about the defense and their way, why they go about things and how they go about things. At first I was going to recap it, but I wanted to play it because I think he said some really good things that I wanted you guys to hear verbatim.
The things that our defensive coaching staff is doing to emphasize attempts on the ball, it's like batting average. The more attempts you have, the more opportunities you're going to get. And so, because it's really small, the percentages are really low to get a fumble punched out. It is. So you just have to have more attempts. You have to have more attempts at the ball than numbers of plays. If we played a 65-play game, your attempts got to be in the hundreds. It's got to be like multiple guys trying to get it out to actually create just one or two. Interceptions come from just guys playing their leverage, having great eyes, and doing their job and coming up with the catch. So huge emphasis. They're doing a great job. They're sick about it. I love it. It's training the offense to really, the last couple of days we've had some interceptions because guys are playing their leverage and guys are following quarterback's intentions, all those things. So it's training both of us, to really be smart about that.
Isn't that insightful? That's insightful, that's detailed, and then when you hear it, it makes a lot of sense. That's why I go to say we have a good chance with this guy. Let me also have a little fun right there. Did you hear that? I'll play it one more time. Yeah, my man Thomas Washington with a $10 Cash App supporting the channel. Thomas, I appreciate it, but I'm going to say you can do better. You play the market. The market's been on fire this week. Come on, man. I know you made $100 today easily on one of them stocks that you be talking about. So I got to give Thomas a hard time again. I've known him for quite a long time. But Thomas, really appreciate the support. It does mean a lot. It does help a lot. We actually have a staff of 3, maybe even 4 on game days this year. So it gives me an opportunity to take care of those guys that help out to run Charlotte Vibe the way that we do. All right, let's continue on through these interviews. J.C. Horn. I touched on it. I said Aaron Rodgers looked good today. And let me just say this. Now, Bryce threw the ball good today. But, man, I felt like looking at the balls that the Packers were throwing, they got some quarterbacks that can throw some nice spirals and balls for sure. In my opinion. Not to say that Bryce is terrible and Andy and all them terrible, but it just jumped out at me. And I want to say it. But I mentioned Aaron Rodgers during the 2-minute offense just looked phenomenal, right? Other times he still looked pretty good throughout the practice and doing other things. But that 2-minute offense, you see it on TV all the time where he's running it, does well. His Hail Marys are second to none. J.C. Horn today talked about, well, what's the benefit of playing a guy like Aaron Rodgers in a joint practice?
He the best of the best, top of the top. He threw a couple no-look passes today, and he just real precise. He got us in the 2-minute drive, just surgical with the ball down the field, quick reads. So it showed us what we will see, if we do get to the playoffs and see some of these big-time quarterbacks. Or, we play the Chiefs this year, we get to see Mahomes. We know how they're going to attack us and what, the great quarterback's mindset is in those moments. So it definitely helps to go against, the top guys. He the best.
So there you have JC talking about how it just helps them become better. The iron sharpens iron, the no-look passes that he was throwing, and he said he was so precise in that 2-minute. And he was. I mean, it was – you could also tell the way that the defense played that they respect Aaron Rodgers because he's not the most nimble, fast guy. He's not 2-mile-an-hour runner. But there are times where he's rolling out, and you might see normally, somebody want to shoot up and get him, but they didn't. They to their credit, they did good, staying disciplined, staying in their assignments, and saying, like, this guy just wants me to move just a little bit, and then he's gonna very precise, like, hit the open defender. So good game to watch today. Again, Aaron did some things really well. Panthers defense did some things really well. Really good practice to watch. Now, Bryce Young, I talked about today. I got a chance to see him and witness the anticipation, the movement in the pocket, the touch on the ball. Some really good overall play by the #1 draft pick from last year, Bryce Young. Bryce gave his rendition of practice day, the good, the bad.
I liked how competitive we were. I like how we responded. I think we started strong. I thought that we did a really good job as a unit I think there was a little lull for us as a unit, and us responding to that, because there's going to be lulls throughout games during the season, and I think we've definitely had some urge to some point of emphasis to make sure we fight through that. And if there's a bad drive, 2 bad drives in a season, that we can make sure we rebound from that. I think we did a good job finishing, which is something that Coach Canales says all the time. And then there's little stuff we got to clean up. There's procedural stuff we got to get better at. There's a couple of things I missed, a couple of reads I got to get through quicker. You never know until you watch the tape. I have a little snapshot in my mind, then you watch the tape and you get to see stuff better. So I'll have a better answer for both perspectives after that. But just fresh off the field kind of takeaways.
All right. So did I say the wrong name for something? Because I said Jets. Well, I see in the comments there's a lot of people saying, did I mean Jets? So again, just going to give a second, because it is a long day and I could have said something wrong. I don't have my co-host here to correct me, so you guys are my co-hosts. I don't see anybody bringing it to my attention. If you do, certainly let me know so I can make the correction. But there's Bryce Young giving his take on the practice today. And Coach Canales did speak on the fact that, hey, how is the offense able to do so well today? He said, well, new opponent, a new color, new jerseys out there, new meat. So they rose to the challenge. I'll take it. I'll take it because to me, I feel like, well, they could have gotten pissed off before now the offense and said, hey, I'm tired of these guys having the upper hand and doing everything so well. I want to have a time where the media talks about how well we did and how bad the defense looked. You could take that, but nevertheless, the offense did well today. I'm all for it. Glad to see it. And we'll continue on. Oh, you guys said I said Packers at one point? Now I can see that because I do heavily associate Aaron Rodgers with the Packers. I could have said Packers at one point. If I did, I'm so sorry. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. All right. Best for last. I say best for last, but I'm just using words, adjectives, using my adjectives today. Terrace Marshall Jr., he spoke with the media today after his big game. And so I said big game. Training camp, practice, sorry. And I say big like it was the hugest thing ever. Let me reel it back in. After a very solid, impactful practice today, joint practice with the New York Jets, Terrace Marshall Jr. spoke with the media. And I've been wanting to talk with Terrace this season because I felt like before today, and I'm going to play the clips, I'm not going to be a spoiler, but before today, I noticed that Terrace Marshall Jr. would celebrate after every big play. When I say big play, it's like a touchdown, contested kind of catch type of deal that I'm seeing this guy celebrate. And I don't feel like I've ever seen him do that, like every single time. So for me, today wasn't like, oh, he acted out of character today, or what was that? Because he's been doing it all camp long. So I had a chance to ask him a question about, hey, it seems like a weight has been lifted off your shoulder. And is that cause for the celebrations that you're seeing, or what is behind the celebrations that you're showing? And here's his response.
I wouldn't say no different mindset. My mindset, always when I touch the field is just, go do what I can and control what I control. So, I mean, I feel like the energy with this team this year has definitely been good. So, just keeping the chemistry going and just continue to build off what we did.
So he said, nah, I'm the same. Some good chemistry. I like what's going on. I don't know. I really do, Chris Jenkins' opinion, feel like Terrace has been looking like this guy's like, it clicked. I knew I could do it. I am doing it. I'm succeeding. The weight's off my shoulder, but I'm happy. No matter what the root of it is, I'm happy about the results for sure. Terrace Marshall doing pretty well. Had a chance to ask him one more question because Canales did say, hey, on the field, I went and talked to him. He told us, he said it was dumb. I may have used those words, may have used more. But I asked him about his relationship with Coach Canales because, Canales has mentioned that he's really been intentional about having relationships with guys so that when he's criticizing them, that the player knows that it's coming from a good place. Here's Terrace on that question.
I feel like the team, definitely respect Coach Canales. Me, myself, personally, I respect Coach Canales and what he's doing and what he's building. He's definitely leading us, to success. And, we building every day, building the team chemistry. And the message that he's getting across, I feel like is actually getting across and it's processing to the team. So we're just going to continue to get better, keep striving.
All right. So he says he respects the coach, likes what he's doing. They're just going to keep striving. So good for him. Again, good practice today. Good things from the Panthers offense, good things from the Panthers defense, and all the players that are involved in many positions on both sides of the ball. Too many penalties I saw on special teams. Too many penalties I saw on special teams. I feel like a little rejuvenation here for the team and what they could do this upcoming season. All right, so I just got time for just a few questions, and then we're going to have to do this again tomorrow. All right, so let me go ahead and try to get to some of these questions here. And I'm going to have to take my members right now, okay? Members' questions. Chris, do you think Bryce did enough today to show he has grown as a starting quarterback in this league? Yes. Yes, I have. All right, so Knucklehead K busted me here, asking me about the highlight video. There is normally a highlight video every single day. I did it 14 days straight. I do not have the highlight video today. Got there just a little bit late. And just like last year, they were really, media has rules to follow. And sitting in the stands, you guys have a lot more leeway than we have. So basically, there's a short amount of period of time today that we could record. I got you those highlights that I had earlier. And just for Knucklehead K, I'll play those highlights one more time because it's very short.
Yep.
There you go. Highlight video. What's going on, Ali? Appreciate you jumping on. And again, because of my time shortage today, I'm just going to touch on the members' questions. But set your alerts. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll try to have time to answer all your questions. So if you're not a member, please consider becoming a member. Your support's needed. Independent media, we get to do what you guys like because of that, but also because of that, need your support. So anytime that you're able to show the support, really, really appreciate it. Got a little spam coming on this broadcast here, but that's all good. It happens. It happens. All right, got another question here from Darrell. Hey, Chris, do you notice any difference from last year's camp to this one under Canales? I want no parts of 2023. Yeah, I've been asked that question before, and I don't get a big feel for there being a different. I feel like anytime you have a new coach, there's going to be optimism around that new coach, optimism around that upcoming season, but nothing that sticks out like, whoa, this and whoa, that. I mean, he has certainly a different personality, a different way about him, Coach Canales versus Frank Wright. But the practices still, I mean, they seem like what they are. I know yesterday I was asked about scheme, so there's a little different scheme that we're seeing with the timing that Bryce is expected to get the ball out, with the emphasis on the run. But appreciate the question, Darrell. See if we had any more member questions come in before I jump off of here. That will be it. So again, had to keep it short today. Well, I say short. It was still a 40-minute broadcast. But you guys still have lots of questions, so I can't be man of the people without being a resource to you and being available to you. So we will do another broadcast tomorrow. Stay tuned for the time. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe. Thank you so much.